All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rakah Kodash, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, are two great kings, the gods that the King James Bible speaks of, which again, the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, who the world of ignorance calls Christ. True name is Yahweh Shai. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Elder Tahar, and on down that rule and teach well. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson of how alone the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And I want to name the video, The Wealth of Them That Dwell at Babylon. All right, and that's paraphrasing from 2nd Esdras, the 3rd chapter and the 2nd verse, which I'm going to read here in a second. But Lord wills, brothers can see on the screen, the inspiration for this lesson comes from this article that I have here. And this is for fair use purposes only. I'm not using this for any monetary gain, just for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. And the title of the article reads, The Wealth of the Top 1% Reaches a Record 52 trillion. All right, so it says the top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth in the second quarter, as the stock market's rally continued to benefit the biggest investors, according to new Federal Reserve data. Right, so it says again, the top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth. All right, while you tribes, you Israelites, you so-called black, which you tribes, when I say you tribes, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians, the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. All right, and the masses of you Edomites and you other nations here in America continue to catch hell, continue to struggle. All right. You know, Zaquan Menachium and a few Aquathot that I believe see these compilation videos that people are putting up daily about how they lost their job. You know, they don't know, basically what's next for them. Their bank account is pretty much empty. They lost their job, or they're getting ready to lose their job. All right, they're losing their benefits. All right, you know, people losing their food stamps who with buku kids. They don't know how they're gonna feed them. All right, you know, so on and so forth, just straight up and down catching hell here in America. But meanwhile, again, the wealth of the top 1% reaches a record 52 trillion. And these devils are raking it in. You better believe they're all devils. And there may be some, jakes among them, sellout jakes that bend over on the desk for Esau, All right. But the majority of them, you better believe, are Edomites. All right. So they're prospering, they're balling, they're good. All right. But again, you jakes continue to catch it, man. Straight up and down, catch it. All right. So it says all wealth groups saw a gain over the past year, with a net worth of the bottom half of Americans increasing 6% over the past 12 months, according to the Fed data. The growth has been the fastest for these at the very top. The top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth in the second quarter, as the stock market's rally continues to benefit the biggest investors, according to new data from the Federal Reserve. The top wealth of the top 10% of those with a net worth of more than 2 million reached a record 113 trillion in the second quarter. 113 trillion in the second quarter, up from 108 trillion in the first quarter, according to the Fed. The increase follows 3 years of continued growth for those at the top, with the 10% adding over 40 trillion to their wealth since 2020. Right, we all know what happened in 2020. A lot of guys, a lot of companies out there, all right, made a lot of money, all right, investing in those jabs. All right. So again, you tribes continue to struggle. All right. And not just the tribes, not just our tribe, not just the tribes. All right. Not just you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians, Edomites. All right. In their own kingdom, because this is your kingdom. All right. So-called white man, woman, and child. All right, you other nations out there continue to struggle. And again, your government, which your government is completely and utterly shut down right now, all right, is doing nothing to help you. All right. But meanwhile, Trump has signed off on bills and legislations and things like that to make the rich richer. All right. All them tax cuts, which it's not just him. All them politicians do the same thing. They promise no tax cuts. We're gonna cut tax for the poor and put more taxes on the rich. But at the end of the deal, what always happens? All right, the common man, woman, and child, or the common man and woman pays way more in taxes, and the super rich pay little taxes or no taxes at all. All right, like what's his name? Tim Cook, the owner of Apple or the CEO or whatever Apple. That motherfucker, he don't pay no taxes. They don't pay no taxes. All right, and straight up and down raking it in, and they don't pay no taxes. All right, but yet they're draining you dry. They're draining the common man dry. All right. So yeah, the top wealth of the wealth of the top 1% reaches a record 52 trillion, man. 52 trillion. All right, an outrageous number. All right, why they making them pay back some of the debt? All right, the national debt is like 36 trillion or whatever it is. Make some of them motherfuckers ass throw a couple of $1 trillion or throw some money at that debt. All right, instead of just running it up and expecting the common man, all right, the average American to pay it off. Each American citizen owes like $60,000 or something like that. All right, but meanwhile they're raking it in. They ain't making them pay taxes at all. They're super rich. All right, that's why we say this place is complete and utter bullshit. And then Jake, fighting tooth and nail, still is trying to save this devil, man. All right, trying to make a case for this devil that he should be in the kingdom. All right, the so-called white man, woman, and child should be in the kingdom and have sit on thrones or not have to, be slaves. No, they're gonna be in the kingdom, but they're gonna be slaves. All right, starting with the elites of Edom. All right, the super rich of Edom. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Right, the people are mourning. Again, brother, see them compilation videos that are put up daily. All right, put up daily. I just lost my job. I just lost all my food stamps. I just lost my government housing. I just lost my car. I just lost my job. My job is cutting back my hours. My job is cutting my pay. All right, inflation is out of control. Daily, these videos are coming out daily. All right, but meanwhile, again, the wealth of the top 1% reaches a record 52 trillion. The top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth. The top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion. All right. While you continue to catch hell here, man. And again, like we say week in, week out, these devils don't give a shit. And you Jakes gotta wake up and realize that. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians gotta wake up and realize that these devils don't give a shit about you. About you or what you got going on, your struggle. They don't care. They continuing to rake it in. On your back, by the way, on your labor. All right, and your tax dollars. All right, the second Esdras chapter 3, verse 2. For I saw the desolation of Zion. Who's Zion? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians. All right, and the majority of people you see on those compilation videos, well, it be mixed crowds. All right, it be Jake, Esau. All right, it do be a mixed crowd, but you do see Jake on there, and Jake's been catching hell from day one because we're under the curses. So Jake's been living in poverty and all of that from day one. All right. So it says, for I saw the desolation of Zion, which we're definitely desolate here. All right. And the wealth of them that dwelled at Babylon. Right. The wealth of them that dwelled at Babylon. The wealth of the top 1% reaches a record 52 trillion. The top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth. Right, the new Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is America. Again, 2nd Esdras 3, chapter 2. I mean, Slack, 2nd Esdras chapter 2. It's like I can't talk today, brothers. 2nd Esdras chapter 3, verse 2. For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelled at Babylon. All right, and this is the wealth that these devils have, man. The scripture says they're not in trouble like other men. All right, the top 10% of Americans added 5 trillion to their wealth in the second quarter. All right, so again, these devils are raking it in, man. Straight up raking it in. All right, but yet they're draining you dry for your crumbs. They're draining you dry for your crumbs. These corporations and all that are raising prices in the name of inflation and all of that. And you know, we understand the value of the dollar goes down, so it takes more dollars to buy things. All right, but they're doing that on purpose. They're tanking the dollar on purpose. All right, they're tanking the dollar on purpose to ultimately crash it and usher in the digital currency. All right, which the end goal with that digital currency system is to have everybody embedded with a microchip inside the body. All right, so again, you jakes continue to catch hell here. All right, while these devils continue to rake it in, then you still got niggas out there trying to make a case for the so-called white man. All right, that he shouldn't have to go into slavery. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors again to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and safety to you, brothers, that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.